It's the North Central Texas weather discussion video. This is for Tuesday morning, January 20th. I'm Donovan Neal. All eyes and ears are on a possible high-impact winter storm over the course of this weekend. So hopefully I'll be able to clarify any questions you might have at this point. So here we go. This is the upper air look. This is a look at 500 millibars. And the reason why we're so cold is because we have this big upper trough that's been rotating over the northeastern two-thirds of the country for a while now. And as you can see on the radar composite this morning, not a single storm or a speck of rain anywhere around here or much of the contiguous United States, but down here we are cold. Many locations as advertised below freezing. Of course, spots outside of the Metroplex, seeing lows mostly in the 20s. Cold spot's going to be Graham out to the northwest, 18 degrees. But the silver lining is we bounce back quite nicely like we did Sunday and yesterday, a high in the mid-50s today. On the watch warning map, things are pretty quiet around the south central U.S. Obviously, with a cold, stable air mass, not a single thunderstorm to worry about today, but tomorrow we could see some thunder around Louisiana and parts of the Gulf Coast near Houston. Maybe a rumble thunder or two, and then day 3, which is Thursday, obviously no thunderstorms to worry about. Here's a rainfall outlook for the next 7 days, basically valid through Tuesday morning of next week. And that's a lot of rain, about 1.5 inches to around 2 inches of rain with eastern extent for much of the north central Texas region. And the biggest question is how much of this will actually be rain? How much of this will be freezing rain? How much of this will be sleet? And how much of this will be snow? So let's just break it down day by day. This is the European global model. This is the 6Z run, valid this afternoon at noon. This is a look at 500 millibars, looking around 18,000 feet off the ground. You can see that broad troughing, as I was talking about earlier in the video, in the northeastern United States. And down here, we're quiet. And like I said, I know it's a cold morning, but we'll bounce back to the mid-50s. Should be a mostly sunny sky initially, but I do think we'll see an increase in clouds with southern extent later this afternoon into the evening, and definitely overspreading into the overnight hours. Now, Wednesday, tomorrow, could be a relatively muggy day. I don't expect a huge rainfall by any means, but I think we could see some scattered showers from a line near Fort Worth, Denton, Burleson, and points to the east, basically along and east of Interstate 35W. I do think we'll see highs in the upper 50s to low 60s tomorrow, and pretty much the same deal on Thursday. I do think we'll see a few scattered showers here and there. On Thursday, highs mostly in the upper 50s under a mostly cloudy sky. Now here's Friday late afternoon at around 3. Friday's already a muggy day with rain already in progress mostly during the morning and afternoon. But as the Siberian air comes crashing down to the south during the day on Friday, and as temperatures go below freezing, there is pretty good confidence that we see a changeover to freezing rain during the day on Friday with northern extent, obviously starting to the north first, working its way down to the south, as you can see. You can see freezing rain already falling along the Red River, even as far south as Denton County and locations near Abilene. So the onset of this could be as early as Friday afternoon for many locations. Now, let's go to Saturday afternoon. I think this is where the peak of this will happen. And you can see the very reliable European model is giving us mostly freezing rain. I do think we will see a great amount of sleet, at least in the Metroplex as well, but at least during the peak of this Saturday afternoon, freezing rain event, Saturday morning as well, freezing rain event with sleet pellets mixed in addition to heavy snow for areas up north as well. And this includes parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, even along the Red River and the Texas Panhandle, seeing some meaningful accumulations as well. And we'll show some of that here in a little bit. And this is Sunday morning. Now, on the previous video, This was suggesting that a good chunk of this would be out of the state by Sunday morning. But what's happened between now and yesterday evening is that low that's near California, near Baja California, it phases with the upper trough in the north, and whenever that happens, we see some additional lift in moisture, which would allow for a continuation of the duration of this winter weather event lasting into some parts of the day Sunday. You can see freezing rain as far south as Austin, San Antonio, and extending all the way to the northeast, with us, the DFW Metroplex, getting sleet and, at this point, heavy snow. Now keep in mind, all of this can change. All of this can look radically different even this afternoon and evening. This could all very much change. But the signals have been consistent. The pattern recognition has been very consistent that a pretty high impactful winter storm is on tap for this weekend. So just for fun, let's get a second opinion. This is the GFS, the Global American Forecasting System model, and it is suggesting heavy sleet for much of the DFW Metroplex and with southern extent by Saturday afternoon, with heavy snow just outside of the Metroplex for the north and west. And let's get a third opinion. This is the Canadian model, and it's suggesting heavy snow. It's suggesting heavy snow through parts of Oklahoma, with sleet extending down to the Metroplex, and some parts of the metro getting sleet and heavy freezing rain. So I think for a balance of both worlds, the messaging is consistent that I think this will mostly be a heavy sleet event with freezing rain starting initially, which unfortunately this would mean the most impacts to travel and infrastructure here. Now the silver lining is that we will be in the mid to upper 50s the day or two before the event, so the infrastructure and roads won't be cold beforehand. But with this amount of precipitation, it may not matter. And I just want to, this is the European, back to the European, this is the accumulated freezing rain. And by golly, if any of this were to verify by any means, this would be a pretty crippling ice storm for North Texas and Central Texas and East Texas as well. Many of you may not have experienced a crippling ice storm. I have. December 2013, where many locations saw an inch and a half, 2 inches of rain, heavy freezing rain, and even some sleet, ice pellets. Many locations saw around 2 to 4 inches, maybe even more. And this is where we coined the term cobblestone ice, because refreezing kept happening days after this fell. I'm not saying this is going to happen exactly like 2013, but whenever we see numbers like this, it's definitely concerning. Now here's the GFS. This is suggesting that the axis of the freezing rain, accumulated freezing rain, will be down to the south. But the messaging remains consistent, that if we see any freezing rain in any shape or form, like the numbers that we're seeing from the European, we could be in for a pretty significant ice storm. Now this is the total sleet coming off the GFS, and it's suggesting upwards of around 4 inches of sleet. So a mostly dominant sleet event, which could also accrue ice and on surfaces and also on roadways. Essentially the same impacts, if not a little less than freezing rain. Now, keep in mind this map may look radically different, but the messaging remains consistent. Now, for the snow lovers, this is the probability of total snowfall greater than or equal to an inch coming off the European for this event, and it's basically suggesting a guaranteed chance of at least an inch of snow or more for much of north central Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So I do think, like I said, this will be a sleet dominant event with freezing rain starting initially and then changing over to heavy snow Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening, lasting through Sunday morning. Now let's take a look at these snow totals coming off the reliable European model. And it's suggesting around 2.5 to around 2.5 to 6 inches of snow for the immediate metroplex, with the totals increasing radically with northern extent. I mean, it's showing Denton around 8.5 inches, with a foot of snow possible for areas along the Red River into parts of southern Oklahoma. So this has the potential to be a very high impactful winter storm with all modes of wintry precipitation possible for much of the metroplex, especially for north central Texas. We could see some freezing rain starting off initially, then a quick changeover to heavy sleet for Saturday morning and during the day, with the changeover to heavy snow Saturday evening into parts of the day on Sunday. And obviously, what I like to do is forecast the impacts of this really starting tomorrow and this evening. Forecasting the impacts of this, I will say, just based on what I'm seeing now, if this is like a freezing rain and sleet dominant event for this region, which I do think will occur, this would of course include icy road conditions, which will make travel very, very difficult to near impossible in some areas. Power outages would also be possible as well. And then you also have the added effect of the heavy snow, making it colder than what these models are showing. So again, we'll make another update video later this evening, but I would say it would be wise to prepare for a high impact winter storm starting today. Just start those I'm not saying, oh, run to the store and buy all the milk and bread there is. I'm just saying, if you have, if we run into a situation where we're home for a couple of days, make sure you buy groceries, and make sure you buy enough chargers to charge your cellular devices in case you lose power. So just hang in there. We'll get through this together. I'll have many graphics during the coming days and coming hours. And then again, this is showing Sunday moderate to heavy snow for the metroplex. Now here's a week from today, Tuesday, the 27th. You can see that trough moves out to the east. We introduced some ridging out to the west, and down here Tuesday looks pretty dry. Now here's a week. Now this is at the end of the forecast period. Thursday, the 29th of January. Still have a very cold look in the northeastern United States, but down here this remains dry. Here is the rainfall outlook coming off the European ensemble. What you're looking for is a green line. That's the mean of the ensemble members. It's suggesting anywhere between 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rain between now and the 4th of February, and most of this will be from the event this weekend. Here are the temperatures coming off the NBM National Blend of Models. You can see we're pretty mild for January standards, Tuesday through Thursday, but you can see we have that nosedive in temperatures beginning Friday and really lasting throughout the weekend. And I will say, like I alluded to before, that the models do not handle cold, shallow air masses well. So this may look colder than what you are seeing here, and I will say we do see that high of 34 on Monday. So anything that is on the ground will refreeze Monday. So we could see impacts last well into Tuesday during the day. And it's not too far-fetched that we see maybe some ice refreezing, some cobblestone ice with multiple days in the freezer. But worry about that with time. Here is the latest long-range guidance. This is the 8 to 14 temperature outlook, and this is suggesting temperatures below average between the 27th and the 2nd of February. if this were to all work out. So again, if you're watching me for the first time, or if you're watching my products for the first time, I want to thank you for doing so. We have potential for a very high impact winter storm for parts of the south central United States, including all of north central Texas, and to parts of Oklahoma and the surrounding states. I do think this may be a freezing rain / heavy sleet dominant event with a changeover of heavy snow Saturday during the day into parts of the day on Sunday. I will begin forecasting specific impacts because this is the real situation here. Is how will this impact us? And the people that live here. So we'll forecast the main impacts later today into parts of the day on Wednesday, but I do think we will see icy road conditions, no doubt about it, and also some potential power outages in some spots, especially down to the south of the Metroplex, where I do think the highest chance of heavy freezing rain accumulation will occur. So thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, and Godspeed.